The second part of the answer is that Tidings then, and when he presents his report in July of 50 now we're talking, gets up and goes through this histrionic performance denouncing McCarthy and intimating, implying, representing, whatever word you want to use, that he has a tape of McCarthy or a recording of McCarthy speaking in Wheeling, West Virginia.
He actually brings this down onto the Senate.
He has a phonograph record and a phonograph player that he has there on the floor of the Senate. I've got a picture of him with it in the book. And he goes through a big routine about, I'm going to play this, and you can't beat the sound of a man's voice. And
this would have been the definitive evidence against Joe McCarthy, the actual tape of him saying this.
That's correct, and that was the way it was played. I have an entire chapter which leads or ends with that, and let me find it here.
Rather than I have in my hand a list of 205 communists, I have in my hand a recording.
That's correct. Here's the picture, if you can get this on camera, and you can maybe get a blow-up of it later, of Tidings posing with the phonograph record and player. So a photo we got from AP Worldwide Photos.
And this is one of the two main attackers of Joe McCarthy in the Senate. Senator Benton and Senator Tidings.
Tidings was first and then Benton followed on. Anyway, so Tidings, he gets on the floor. This is what Tidings said in his oration. One simply cannot beat the sound of a man's voice. All one has to do is read McCarthy's statement in the congressional record and listen to this recording in order to know that there is not truth in both these statements. What is there other than a fraud and a hoax and a deceit about this whole matter? It ought to make the blood of Americans boil that they have been told these foul and vile charges. And here is a recording to prove it. And if that is broken, I have duplicates, in brackets, laughter from the galleries and from the fellow senators. Say, this show and tell by Tidings was by common consent the forensic highlight of the proceedings. Next day, the press reported that he had. Senator Wherry, the Republican leader, had objected. Saying, this is, making a circus. And so, then McCarthy said, well, I won't play it. So then the press reported that he had a recording of McCarthy's speech at Wheeling, but he was not permitted to play it. And then he poses with this picture.
He was thwarted from revealing to the whole world how Joe McCarthy had lied with the actual audio evidence.
Correct. So then, somewhat later, extraneous thing develops in which McCarthy and Senator Benton are fighting it out in a libel suit, and Tidings is called as a witness to give a deposition in this libel suit.
And McCarthy had a very famous lawyer.
He did. Edward Bennett Williams, well known around town, and became even more famous later. He was already pretty famous then. And Bennett Williams questioning Tidings about this recording I got the whole deposition. It's interesting to read the whole thing. And Tidings is asked about this many different angles. He keeps skating and denying. And finally, in the afternoon session, I wrote this. Williams finally pinned him down as follows. Williams. Now, we have established this morning, I think pretty conclusively, that you didn't have a recording of the Wheeling speech, Senator Tidings, so you didn't. Tidings, I did not have a radio recording. I had the verbatim copy of his speech, which McCarthy took to West Virginia, which he read.
And the actual recording
was a recording of a radio program that McCarthy had been interviewed on in Salt Lake City during the swing to the west after Wheeling, in which he used only the number 57. So that recording would not have proved that he lied about the number, but that he told the truth about it. And that's the recording that Tidings admitted that he had.
This is what he probably had on the Senate floor.
Well, he admitted he had. He admitted that's what he had.